Welcome to Vsb News Online for Thursday, May the 21st. I'm Charles Webb. The long Bermuda Day holiday weekend is approaching, hence the Bermuda Police Service are advising caution on the roads, the water, and our homes. During a press briefing today, Acting Superintendents Darren Simons and Calvin Smith touched on safety, temperance, security, and consideration for others. But tragedies on our waters merited special attention.
We've had 2 tragic deaths in 2 days on our waters, and that underscores the importance of safe activity and being safety-minded on our waters. As you're aware, this weekend marks the unofficial start of summertime activities on the water. Therefore, along with the Reserve Police, there will be a visible law enforcement presence on our waterways. We would like to remind the boating public to ensure that their vessels are registered, that they have all required safety equipment, and that they're carrying enough fuel for their proposed journeys. It's also recommended that boaters file a float plan, and certainly if you intend to go offshore. Members of the boating public should always exercise care and caution around other vessels and be on the lookout for swimmers. Speed is an issue not only in maritime collisions, but in the general nuisance factor that's experienced by boaters at anchor near the shoreline. To that end, the 5-knot no-wake areas will be strictly enforced in order to calm the marine traffic.
Loud music complaints over public holidays is something that we have to address on a regular. What we're going to ask in this incident is that we do accept that people like to party, but at the same token, there are some people who like to just relax on the holiday. So in particular neighborhoods, we ask that you get together, let your neighbors know what you're going to be doing. If it's going to be loud music, maybe you might want to invite them over, or just put something in place. The key thing is to be patient with each other, be a bit tolerant, and we're trying to avoid the police coming into neighborhoods or just attending nuisance offenses that can be corrected within neighborhoods. So do your best, be patient, and encourage each other so that there's no interference from the police in what you're trying to accomplish. Crime prevention goes without saying. If you plan on being to one of the parades or out all day, make sure that your house is secure over this long weekend. We stress the need to ensure that your bikes and cars are properly locked and any property in it is either tucked away or hidden from prey in sight, and the keys are taken out of the vehicles, in particular bikes. A lot of the bikes that are removed, the keys are left to the bike, and it's an invitation to someone with dubious intent to just come and ride off with it. So apply some common sense and do what's necessary to keep your property safe.
Police stressed another point. As the causeway will be closed for the morning races, those traveling on the early flights out of Bermuda would need to be at the airport no later than 8 o'clock. A large number of supporters of the same-sex marriage petition organized by activist Tony Brennan and signed by 2,500 people gathered on the steps of the cabinet this lunch hour. Tony Brennan presented the petition to Community Affairs Minister Patricia Gordon-Pamplin after she and Sherry Lynn Pringle of the Two Words and a Comma human rights group had spoken in favor of changing the law.
It's with great pleasure I have to pass this petition over to you, which has almost 2,500 signatures on it. And most of them are from our citizens in Bermuda, or people that live in Bermuda. There are some international people, and I was very, I intently included visitors, because not only is this about a basic human right that needs to be affirmed to the community, but it's also about an opportunity for the future of Bermuda and for tourism. I just have a couple of comments here that have been made, Minister, by people that have signed the petition. And one is by the daughter of the late Julian Hall, that says, "This is the time to be on the right side of history. Prejudice and denial of human rights have no place in our society." And I think that's very well said. Love is love. Same-sex couples deserve the same rights as anyone else.
On behalf of Two Words and a Comma, my colleagues that worked hard on the campaign to add same-sex sexual orientation to the Human Rights Act of 1981. I would just like to thank Tony for bringing forth the petition and welcome anyone who, whether or not you want a same-sex marriage, to get involved, and let's let everyone have the right to choose whether they wish to be happy or unhappy.
The one thing that I am very proud of is that since coming into government, the One Bermuda Alliance has made mammoth strides towards ensuring that human rights protections have been expanded from that which we found when we first arrived in office. And I think it's important to recognize and to understand that this government has not just an obligation but also a desire to listen to those thoughts that are being advanced by all of the people of Bermuda, so that nobody feels as though that they are on the outside.
The PLP delegation to London has been pushing the idea of a Swiss challenge, under which government would publish the bid it receives for the airport project and invite third parties to match it or exceed it. But John Beck, executive chairman of the Aecon Group, claims that this cannot be used for a public-private partnership project.
Swiss challenge is a very different process. Everybody goes in with the understanding that there will be a Swiss challenge process. The problem in this particular case is that the solution, we believe, to the Bermuda airport redevelopment is that there needs to be the Canadian government there to attract the right financing solution and to give guarantees to the Bermuda government that there'll be no surprises and no overruns. If you go to a Swiss challenge and you open it up then to multiple bidders, the other bidders will not be able to bring the government guarantee of execution. So it would be imbalanced. The request would be completely different. And frankly, we wouldn't be bidding on these things. We've bid on these things internationally before, and it's very difficult unless there's a special relationship, which there are in other countries, very difficult to compete. We bring value that others can't bring, and that's the Canadian government. That's why this partnership and this relationship is so important. And as I said in my prepared remarks, the model of having a sovereign government behind a proposal when dealing with another sovereign government is developing more and more around the world, because when there is no other sovereign government, it leads to sometimes very complicated relationships, and it does not end well. And so this is a very clean solution, proven, successful, and we believe brings value, in this case, to Bermuda.
After over 100 years of operating as a self-regulatory and autonomous business, Bermuda's vacation rental market is about to find itself being regulated by the Bermuda Tourism Authority, paying 2.5% fees and complying with the strict safety standards. These are the main recommendations contained in the discussion paper released today by the BTA. The paper points out that annual revenues generated by the 273 vacation rental units based on a 70% occupancy amounts to an estimated $20 million, and that they provide 11% of the island's licensed room count. And we'll be back with more news right after this.
In an effort to make Bermuda's roads safer, and in partnership with Bermuda Police Service and the Bermuda Road Safety Council, Defense Broadcasting is launching a safe driving campaign. Complete with thumb bands, come into Defense Broadcasting and 94 Reed Street and make the commitment to drive safer and slower for yourself. Your voice could be featured on the radio. Get yourself a thumb band as a reminder of your commitment to drive safer and with fewer distractions. While you're at it, why not get one for someone in your life who also needs a reminder that our roads do not discriminate. They can take anyone's life. Let's drive safe, Bermuda, and arrive alive. Peace and love. Safe journeys.
A comprehensive survey on how the Department of Workforce Development can improve its career-enhancing programs has been completed, according to Home Affairs Minister Senator Michael Fay.
We also made mention in the Senate today of what we're doing in the Workforce Development Department to assist Bermudians getting their skill sets upped. We had a third-party consultant come in, a process that was tendered, to give an overall view and put in place a number of different programs and ways of conducting business for our clients to help people get directed into the things that they need, like increased skill sets, like job opportunities, really give them a better experience and identify across the board, not just looking at do they need a job, but also trying to find for them the courses and the experience they may need to move careers, which is very promising, of course, because not everybody just wants to stick with what they're doing. If we can assist in that way, help Bermudians move into those opportunities that have been identified in the National Training Plan, that's what we have to do.
How is that work thing on the television work going? Do people get jobs from that?
Yeah, I mean, I think that the job board that's on the computer, as you know, is linked to Channel 82 with Cablevision. And I think it has proved an invaluable resource. I can't tell you how many people directly got a job from it, but what I can tell you is it's been well received. I've been stopped by numerous people on the street saying, we really appreciate that you've made it a wider audience for us to see what positions are available.
It works both ways, doesn't it?
It does.
Challenges in foster care can stem from Bermuda's size, religious and cultural mores. Selena Simons, foster care coordinator at Child and Family Services, says there are rewards, and as May is Foster Care Month, her department is in search of more parents to take on this challenge.
We try to match accordingly, and we try to make sure that the cultural components match with the child. We also have to pay close attention to religious expectations as well, because there are some children who already have an established religious expectation that they want to continue following, and we try to make sure that does not get changed into foster care.
So if you had a potential Muslim foster care parent, you would match them with a Muslim child?
Potentially. If the child did not have any established religion already, then there would be no conflict. But it definitely would be a conflict if the child was already an established Christian or another religion.
Would the foster parent have to be of some sort of financial means?
That's a very good question. Yes, you have to have some type of financial stability, because foster parents often come out of their own pocket for various expenses, even though we do have stipends, but you have to have financial stability.
How difficult is it to get foster parents in a community like Bermuda?
With Bermuda being very small, there are a lot of times when people find out the circumstances of the families where the children are coming from, and they have a hesitancy based on what they found out and what they know. So it can be quite challenging because we are very small, we're very close-knit, and everybody tends to know everyone's business. So it's the information that sometimes scares people away. They express an interest and then they back off when they find out what the actual details are and who the families are.
Do you have any sort of campaign to remove sort of the stigma of what might be a stigma for foster child?
For foster children? Oh, well, when we do the workshops and when I do speeches about foster care, I let potential applicants know that it actually can be quite rewarding. And in our community, once again, being small, this is where it's a benefit of being small, because the foster child and foster children become connected to the entire family. Not just the four walls where they're residing, they become a part of the extended family. And in most cases, when they get 18 and they age out of the system legally, they remain connected to that foster family, and in most cases, they stay. So the stigma is removed because it's quite impactful.
The Gilbert and Sullivan Society has chosen the musical comedy The Drowsy Chaperone for its October production, and director Joe Frumpkin will be flying in for the weekend of May 29th to May 31st to conduct the auditions. Producer Deborah Smith-Joel is asking would-be singers, dancers, and actors to use the Society's website to obtain an audition time and view the message left by Director Frumpkin.
It is going to be The Drowsy Chaperone. This is a musical comedy and has won 5 Tony Awards in New York, and it is a blockbuster as far as a comedic musical is concerned. It is phenomenal. I've been pushing for 5 years to get this show.
Oh, so this is personal.
So I finally got it on.
Well, you know, the Gilbert and Sullivan does its original stuff from Gilbert and Sullivan, and then every other year you get to do something different.
Yep.
and challenging, and some of it has been absolutely stunning.
We have done a lot of offsetting. Last year we did Pirates of Penzance, which is a GNS show. But then the year before that we did South Pacific, we did The Producers. And so we try to find shows that's going to pique everyone's interest. This show's set in the 1920s. So it's a typical Broadway musical, but set in a gentleman's home, where he's reminiscing about all this, called the man in the chair, if you will. He tells everybody all about it.
So we got, obviously you started auditioning. You'd like that to speed up a bit?
Yeah, we've got some folks auditioning, but I really wanted to reach out to other people to let them know that this is really going to be a blockbuster show, and anybody that's got any type of comedic acting really wants to be in this show. Singing, yeah, it's a musical, but if their singing's not right up to snuff, it's like Joel Frumpkin, our director, our Bermudan director, has said, it's almost a panto-ish type of show, so you can play off the non-hit notes, if you will, but it's really, really a good show.
And now we'll turn to another director, Earl Baisden, with the latest from the sports desk.
A 37-year wait will come to an end this coming Monday right here on Dotton Avenue as the Bermuda Day Half Marathon Derby will end along this stretch. Acting Superintendent Darren Simons of the Bermuda Police Service details the race route for both the Sinclair Packwood Memorial Race and the Bermuda Day Half Marathon Derby.
The routes for the race are as follows. The Sinclair Packwood Memorial Race. We'll start, that's the bicycle race, we'll start at 8:50 a.m. We'll travel along York Street onto Mullet Bay Road, Kinley Field Road, past the airport, the Causeway, up Blue Hole Hill, onto North Shore. And then at Flats Roundabout, they're going to go onto Middle Road, all the way to Cavendish Road, Reed Street, left onto Court Street, right onto Front Street, Queen Street, Church Street, Cedar Avenue, then the finish. The marathon race will effectively cover the same route until they get from Cavendish Road. They're going to turn down Lane Hill, and then they're going to go along East Broadway, Front Street, Queen Street, Church Street, King Street, Victoria Street, Cedar Avenue, Marsh Folly, Dutton Avenue onto the finish.
29 boats went to the start line for race day 4 of the Wednesday night sailing series that begins in the Hamilton Harbor. Crossfire crossed the line first with a time of 59:13, and with their corrected time of 104:57, saw them finish 6th on the night. Nasty Madison was the second boat to cross the line, clocking a time of 101:05, and with their corrected time of 106:38, saw them finish 8th on the night. The third boat to cross the line was Smokin', clocking 105:58, and with their corrected time of 1 hour and 59 seconds, saw them finish 1st on the night. Ragamuffin was 2nd on the night with a corrected time of 102:55 after recording a time of 108:03, while Yobster was 3rd on the night with a corrected time of 104:20. Honey Badger was 4th on the night with a corrected time of 104:39, while Mayhem rounded out the top 5 finishers with a corrected time of 104:46. Meanwhile, PwC Bermuda has been named the official audit and assurance provider for the 35th America's Cup and official audit and assurance provider for Orco Team USA. Under the agreement, PwC will provide a range of professional services to the America's Cup Event Authority. PwC will also make significant contributions to the America's Cup Community Sailing Project through this relationship. Meanwhile, SoftBank Team Japan will be led by Dean Barker, who has been appointed skipper and CEO of the Japanese Challenger. Barker brings over 15 years of America's Cup experience to the Japanese team, including having sailed in 4 America's Cup matches. Trey Simons represented the Northern Iowa Athletic Community College men's outdoor track and field team during the 2015 NJCAA Track and Field Championships. Sophomore Simons took to the track to compete in the men's 1,500-meter preliminaries, where he finished 3rd in Heat 2. His time of 4:03:16 was good enough for him to qualify for the final as the 8th fastest qualifying time. In the final, Simons did not finish. The Bermuda Volleyball Association has named their men's and women's beach volleyball teams who will represent Bermuda at the NetWest Island Games. The Island Games was last held in Bermuda back in 2013 and will be held this year on the island of Jersey, June 27th through July 3rd. Bermuda will be represented by Lisa LeBlanc and Rebecca White as the women's team, while Gary LeBlanc and Eric Holler are the men's team. Patrick Nisbet began taking part in the Royal Windsor International Horse Jumping Show that saw an unprecedented number of people walk through the Windsor gates. Competing in the Bahrain Pearl Stakes 1.50-meter international horse jumping competition with a jump-off class, Nisbet and Farah Van Ketchlup finished 12th, clocking a time of 46.38, but they had 4 penalty full points. Nisbet, riding Quick Z, finished 21st, competing in the 1.40-meter Mama Speed Stakes international horse jumping competition in 2 phases. The pair clocked a time of 47.50, and they had 8 penalty full points. Following the latest round of the Bermuda Netball Association Summer League season at Bernard Park, we can now give you the current standings. After 5 rounds, the teachers are the league leaders, having gone undefeated, scoring 133 goals and only conceding 92 goals. Bermuda's under-16 national squads 1 and 2 have identical records of 3 wins and 2 losses. Squad 1 has scored 134 goals while conceding 84, while Squad 2 have scored 99 goals, conceding 81. 21 members of the Harbor Swim Club will participate in the T2 Aquatics Norris Foundation swim meet in Naples, Florida from May 22nd through to the 24th. The team is made up of Lindsay Smith, Zed Wakely, Jack Harvey, Lucas Young, Taylor White, Lindsay Palmer, Brent Smith, Nick Pilgrim, Caleb Ingham, Emma Kilson, Carrie Palmer, Angus Betts, Jason Hassel, Max McCrimmon, Kyle Cash, Sophie Clare, Ryan Cash, Brian Desmond, Frankie Arnold, Maya Crockwell, and Emma Harvey. Thank you for joining. I'm Earl Baisden reporting for VSB Sports.
Looking at the weather for Friday, May the 22nd, there'll be a mix of sun and cloud with a shower or 2 developing overnight. Winds will be south-southwesterly, moderate, varying southwesterly overnight. High near 78 and a low near 69. This weather forecast is a courtesy of the Bermuda Weather Service. Thanks for watching VSB News Online for Thursday, May the 21st. I'm Charles Webb.